How long could an unprotected human being actually survive on every single planet in our solar system? On the crushing volcanic surface of Venus, the realistic answer is exactly 1 second before thermodynamic forces obliterate your biological structure completely. While Earth provides a perfect sanctuary with precise atmospheric parameters that seamlessly sustain our complex life, the remaining 7 worlds deliver immediate, physics-driven death sentences. The raw facts of planetary science violently shatter all comfortable assumptions about space exploration. What they saw next would change everything we thought we knew. Mercury is the closest world to our central star, and if a human stepped onto its rocky surface without protection, the actual survival time would be only 60 to 90 seconds. The real reason behind this incredibly short window is the total absence of air. Mercury possesses no meaningful atmosphere to surround its rocky floor, which effectively transforms the planetary surface into a massive, empty vacuum chamber deeper than anything achievable in a high-tech Earth laboratory. Without any surrounding environmental pressure to contain your biology, a destructive sequence of physical events begins immediately. The biological consequences of this complete vacuum focus primarily on rapid suffocation and gas expansion. Because there is no external atmospheric pressure pressing against your body, the gases dissolved in your bloodstream and soft tissues violently escape out of solution. Oxygen molecules inside your blood are forcefully pulled backward across the lung membranes and exhaled into the void of space. Simultaneously, dissolved nitrogen and carbon dioxide form rapidly expanding gas bubbles inside your veins, blocking normal circulation and causing your subcutaneous tissues to swell up to twice their ordinary size. This internal expansion is deeply unsettling, yet it is not the fastest killer. The human brain is exquisitely sensitive to oxygen starvation, and within a mere 14 seconds, the deoxygenated blood reaches your cerebral vessels, causing a total loss of consciousness. You faint rapidly before your heart stops pumping completely inside your altered cardiovascular system. Additional planetary factors complicate this hostile wasteland, though they operate too slowly to change your primary timeline of death. The thermal environment on Mercury represents a massive cosmic paradox. On the sun-facing side, intense solar radiation elevates the ground temperature to 430 degrees Celsius, a blistering heat wave that triggers instantaneous 4th-degree burns and ignites ordinary clothing upon proximity. Conversely, on the night side, the temperature crashes down to -180 degrees Celsius, an extreme cryogenic void that freezes exposed flesh solid within seconds. However, the direct physics of a vacuum operate with such rapid urgency that you will perish from total oxygen deprivation and sudden depressurization long before your body has time to realize the extreme heat or the freezing cold. Furthermore, you will experience this violent transition in absolute terrifying silence. Sickness and death arrive without a single sound because a vacuum contains no air molecules to vibrate, meaning waves cannot travel, and your final scream disappears completely inside your throat. Venus is often described as the twin sister of Earth, but if a human being descended toward its brilliant clouds without a spacesuit, the actual survival time would be exactly 1 second. The definitive reasons behind this near-instantaneous destruction are the overwhelming air pressure and the extreme, uniform surface heat. Unlike worlds that destroy life through gradual starvation or freezing voids, this greenhouse planet acts as a hyper-compressed thermal weapon, rejecting biological structures with immense physical presence. The moment you cross the atmospheric threshold, multiple environmental forces dismantle your biology simultaneously. The biological consequences of this landscape focus entirely on massive mechanical crushing and thermal coagulation. The monster atmosphere of Venus consists of 96.5% carbon dioxide, packed into an incredibly dense global blanket. This super-heavy gas column presses down onto the terrain with a crushing force of 9.3 megapascals. For a human body calibrated to the comfortable sea-level baseline of Earth, this experience represents an immediate weight of approximately 100 tons directly compressing your chest wall. Within less than a single chirp mart, Your skeleton suffers total structural failure as your rib cage fractures violently inward and your lungs are driven completely flat. Normal respiration and cardiovascular resistance are rendered mathematically impossible in less than 1 second. Simultaneously, a relentless wave of thermal energy completes the terminal execution. Driven by the most powerful greenhouse effect in our solar system, the surface temperature maintains a permanent, hellish uniformity of 465 degrees Celsius. Under this severe weight, the water content inside your cells cannot flash boil into steam. Instead, the trapped internal fluids transform into highly effective thermal conductors, rapidly cooking all soft tissues and structural proteins from the inside out. Your internal biology undergoes a destructive phase shift known as coagulation necrosis, causing structural cells to solidify instantly like an egg inside a boiling pot. This rapid chemical decomposition mimics the extreme interior conditions of an industrial cremate furnace. Corrosive sulfuric acid droplets present in the upper atmosphere never have the opportunity to dissolve your outer skin, because physical crushing and internal liquefaction conclude the timeline of survival long before chemical corrosion can even begin. Historical data collected by robotic explorers permanently emphasizes this brutal reality. During the height of space exploration, the Soviet Union launched the historic Venera program, sending heavily reinforced titanium vessels to survive this toxic abyss. Venera 7 landed in 1970, transmitting Ventrock data for only 23 minutes before the crushing atmosphere and intense heat waves destroyed its instruments. Years later, Venera 13 set a planetary record by enduring the surface for exactly 127 minutes before its pre-cooled electronic systems completely melted into liquid. A metal machine engineered for cosmic stress lasted only 2 hours, highlighting the ultimate fragility of unprotected flesh. What would you feel if you saw this extreme greenhouse destruction with your own eyes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Mars is the most psychologically treacherous destination in our solar system, but if you step onto its rusty soil unprotected, your realistic survival time is incredibly short, lasting only from 60 to 90 seconds. The true physical reason behind this rapid execution is an extraordinarily thin air pressure that sits far below the critical thermodynamic threshold known as the Armstrong limit. While high-resolution planetary photographs transmitted by advanced robotic rovers show a beautiful landscape resembling the desert plains of Utah, the visual environment is a complete illusion. The atmospheric weight of the red planet is less than 1% of the sea level baseline found on Earth, offering no meaningful containment for human biology. The direct biological consequences of this massive pressure drop manifest as rapid cellular vaporization and oxygen starvation. At the Martian surface pressure of only 636 pascals, the boiling point of liquid water drops below 37 degrees Celsius, which is the exact normal temperature of the human body. Consequently, moisture on your soft biological tissues undergoes an immediate phase transition. The wet surfaces of your eyes, the saliva on your tongue, and the vital fluids lining your mangfor begin to boil aggressively at your own body heat. While your thick skin and muscular blood vessels provide enough internal structural resistance to prevent your blood from boiling inside your veins, your subcutaneous tissues will swell severely as trapped water transitions into gas bubbles. Additional toxic components exacerbate this atmospheric failure, preventing any possibility of traditional respiration. The thin gas mixture consists almost entirely of carbon dioxide, which floods your respiratory tract and drives your blood balance into a severe state of suffocating acidosis. Furthermore, the fine Martian dust contains roughly 1% toxic perchlorate salts, highly destructive oxidizing agents that chemically corrode your delicate breathing pathways upon inhalation. However, these biochemical attacks operate too slowly to dictate your ultimate survival timeline. Because the surrounding pressure is too thin to force oxygen across your lung membranes, your arterial oxygen supply plummets to zero. Your brain consumes its remaining oxygen reserves within a mere 14 seconds, triggering a total loss of consciousness. You faint into a deep coma before your primary cardiovascular system collapses completely within 90 seconds. I looked closely at NASA's red planet charts, and the physical reality is simple. Mars looks like a home, but acts like an executioner. The planet wraps its extreme hostility inside an illusion of habitability, yet its thin air destroys human cells on a strict mathematical schedule. Your soft tissue freezes and dries simultaneously under the global average temperature of -60 degrees Celsius, creating a frozen mummy that remains preserved in the thin vacuum for centuries. Robotic explorers survive decades on this terrain because metal structures do not possess internal liquids that boil at 37 degrees, nor do they require a continuous molecular stream of oxygen to preserve their mechanical consciousness. Human biology remains fundamentally incompatible with this desert world. Jupiter is the towering titan of our solar system, but if you were placed inside its turbulent atmosphere unprotected, you would experience a total loss of consciousness within a mere 10 to 15 seconds. Survival on this colossal gas giant is completely impossible. The real physical reason behind this terrifying scenario is that Jupiter possesses no solid surface to stand on. There is no bedrock, no soil, and no defining boundary where the sky ends. Instead, the planet is an endless, bottomless pit of gas, and its massive gravitational field will pull your body into a permanent, terminal descent through an increasingly compressed environment. The biological consequences of this chaotic plunge occur in rapid, devastating stages driven by severe motion and atmospheric smothering. Because the gravitational pull of Jupiter is 2.5 times stronger than the baseline of Earth, your body accelerates into an extremely fast freefall, reaching a terminal velocity of up to 250 meters per second. As you drop through the freezing upper decks composed of ammonia clouds, you attempt to breathe, but the surrounding atmosphere contains only molecular hydrogen and helium. These gases are completely non-toxic but biologically useless for human respiration. Without any molecular oxygen to sustain your internal metabolism, cerebral oxygen starvation plummets your brain into a state of total anoxia, causing you to faint within 15 seconds. While you drift deeper in a state of total unconsciousness, the surrounding physics continues its aggressive campaign of destruction. As your body sinks roughly 100 kilometers below the initial cloud decks, the ambient air pressure spikes dramatically, violently surpassing the extreme threshold of 100 bar. This immense mechanical crushing force is equivalent to the deep ocean limits on Earth, completely overwhelming your semi-rigid skeleton. Your ribcage fractures inward, and your lungs collapse flat, causing absolute mechanical death within a few minutes. As the corpse continues its relentless journey downward over the following hours, the ambient temperature rises into thousands of degrees Celsius, completely dissolving the remaining organic matter until your individual molecules are permanently absorbed into the planet's metallic hydrogen ocean. Real aerospace telemetry data collected by cosmic missions emphasizes this bottomless hostility. In December 1995, the hardened Galileo atmospheric probe plunged into this exact environment. This heavily reinforced titanium machine was engineered specifically to withstand cosmic stress, yet it endured the mounting temperature and mounting pressure for only 57.6 minutes before its advanced communication systems were permanently crushed and melted. A reinforced metal creation from the National Space Agency lasted under 1 hour, proving that soft human architecture stands no mathematical chance against the Colossus. Saturn is famous for its majestic planetary rings, but if a human entered its cold atmosphere unprotected, you would lose consciousness in 15 seconds, and your mechanical body would be completely destroyed after 15 to 25 minutes. The real reasons behind this brutal timeline are the extreme cryogenic cold of its ammonia skies and permanent hypersonic storms. Unlike the massive gravitational urgency found on Jupiter, this ringed giant possesses a surface gravity nearly identical to Earth, measuring only 6% higher. Consequently, your unprotected body falls much slower, shifting the cosmic execution from an immediate crushing impact into a prolonged, terrifying struggle against extreme weather conditions. The biological consequences of this slower plunge involve rapid tissue freezing and severe wind bombardment. As you fall through the upper troposphere, you encounter a severe cold front measuring -178 degrees Celsius. This immense thermal differential extracts heat from your flesh instantly, causing rapid frostbite and crystallization of moisture inside your primary airways within mere seconds. Simultaneously, you drop directly into a chaotic wind field where permanent equatorial jet streams blow at a permanent velocity of 1,800 kilometers per hour. This extreme velocity approaches transonic speeds and carries immense kinetic force. The violent air current strips your regular clothing away and subjects your freezing skin to continuous friction, turning the descent into a highly painful, uninsulated gauntlet before total oxygen starvation shuts down your brain function completely. As your unconscious form sinks deeper over a quarter of an hour, the mounting air pressure gradually accumulates toward a critical structural threshold. At a depth spanning hundreds of kilometers, the atmospheric weight surpasses 5 bar, completely collapsing your internal respiratory organs and causing final biological death. However, the deepest interior layers of Saturn harbor a spectacular cosmic irony. Under the extreme compression of the lower atmosphere, molecules of gas like methane are severely crushed, breaking their chemical bonds to crystallize carbon Gwenchart directly into solid diamonds. These glittering gemstones fall continuously through the dense gas as a permanent storm of diamond rain. Your frozen, non-functional remains will sink seamlessly alongside thousands of tons of falling diamonds, drifting through the dark interior until you reach the highly compressed metallic hydrogen core of the planet. Uranus and Neptune are the twin ice giants positioned at the furthest frozen margins of our planetary neighborhood, and if an unshielded human fell into their deep cloud decks, the actual survival time would be only 20 to 40 seconds. The true scientific reasons behind this rapid timeline are the extreme phenomenon of flash freezing and the terrifying mechanical power of planetary winds. Moving away from the dense, heavy environments of the inner worlds, physics changes its primary weapon at this immense distance. These gas realms eliminate any trace of molecular oxygen, replacing traditional warmth with a severe thermal gradient that shatters unprotected human biology on a strict mathematical schedule. The biological consequences of entering Uranus focus entirely on immediate cellular destruction through absolute cold. The temperature at the upper cloud tops climbs no higher than -224 degrees Celsius, a cryogenic void that is significantly colder than liquid nitrogen. The moment you enter this hydrogen and methane atmosphere, the steep thermal differential triggers rapid flash freezing across all exposed tissue surfaces. Water inside your cells does not have time to gradually cool. Instead, it turns to solid ice instantaneously, forming sharp crystalline structures that violently expand and tear apart cell walls from the inside out. Your eyes, lips, and respiratory tract harden in a matter of moments, transforming your entire muscular and skeletal body into a highly brittle mass resembling fragile glass in only 4 seconds. While Uranus executes a silent cryogenic death, Neptune delivers a highly violent final choke to the physical organism. The outermost world runs on strong internal heat engines, driving its pale blue atmosphere into a permanent state of supersonic chaos. The winds on Neptune move at a permanent velocity of 2,100 kilometers per hour, a transonic flow that is substantially faster than a bullet fired from a handgun. This extreme wind does not travel alone. It carries millions of microscopic methane and ammonia ice particles entrained in the current. After your biological systems collapse from complete air suffocation and tissue freezing during the first 30 seconds, these hypersonic ice shards execute a devastating physical process. The rushing current acts as a powerful space sandblast machine, continuously striking your brittle, glass-like corpse with immense kinetic energy until it completely erodes and tears the frozen remains into millions of tiny crystal fragments drifting in the void. Am I the only one who finds this mechanical destruction of a frozen body deeply unsettling? Let me know below. This comprehensive exploration of our planetary neighborhood provides a definitive, sobering truth about the nature of human biology. The wider universe contains absolutely no room for error, as these 7 individual worlds function as precise cosmic executioners operated by entirely indifferent equations of mathematical physics. From the boiling vacuum of Mercury and the crushing mechanical furnace of Venus to the frozen transonic sandblast storms of Neptune, planetary science highlights a severe reality. Biological survival outside our home planet is entirely impossible without advanced technology. However, pulling our cosmic perspective back to Earth reveals a brilliant, unparalleled masterpiece of natural engineering. Our beautiful planet is a perfect sanctuary that threads a miraculous needle in space exploration, opening 5 critical survival shields simultaneously. Earth continuously delivers an atmospheric weight of exactly 101.3 kilopascals, providing the precise pressure required to hold our internal fluids liquid. It supplies an atmosphere rich in 21% molecular oxygen to seamlessly power our metabolism. It projects a strong global dynamo-magnetic field, coordinated with a thick stratospheric ozone layer, to permanently deflect destructive solar winds and lethal radiation flux. Finally, it maintains a stable surface gravity of exactly 1 GeV, which is the precise framework around which every bone, muscle, and blood vessel in human biology was structured. Recognizing this perfect alignment forces a profound transition from deep cosmic dread into immense gratitude and hope. This delicate balance is not an act of celestial design, but a rare parametric coincidence that allowed chemistry to evolve into complex consciousness. The cold arithmetic of space does not represent an absolute boundary to our scientific intelligence, but a profound invitation to expand our knowledge. The universe isn't broken. Our map of it is just incomplete. Every harsh limit we measure simply points toward the next great door of technological discovery. What do you think? Does this change how you see our place in the cosmos? I'll keep exploring if there's more to uncover. Thank you so very much for watching. The universe is full of terrifying yet beautiful mysteries, and exploring them together makes this journey incredible. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the dark cosmos, please subscribe and leave a comment below. I will keep exploring. See you all next time.